Good evening. Want me to start again? Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Lee County Zoning Board of Appeals meeting Thursday, August 8th, 2022. First order is please call the roll.
Bruce Forrester.
Here.
Craig Burrow.
Here.
Mike Pratt.
Here.
Glenn Hughes, not present. Rex Meyer, not present.
Thank you. The next thing is the approval of the previous minutes from April 7th, April 13th, May 4th, May 9th, May 12th, June 16th, June 27th, and July 7th, 22. So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next is a motion to adjourn pursuant to the county board's approval of petition number 22-P-1591. So moved. Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Which petition was that?
That would have been GSG.
Hearing no discussion. All in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed? Motion carries. Next order of business is old business. Petition number 22-P-1594. Lee County Zoning Office Permanent Parcel Number 19-22-08-200-002, formerly known as permanent parcel, as part of permanent parcel number 19-22-08-200-002 in Sublette Township. Lee County Zoning Office is asking for the revocation of a special use permit pursuant to 10-2B-3 of the Lee County Code. Alice, would you like to tell us something?
Yeah, we are, the zoning office is currently working on a formal agreement with FPC Services in which the special use will be revoked. I would ask the board to continue this petition to the October 6th meeting for hearing should no formal agreement be reached by that time. Attorney Courtney Kennedy is present on Zoom on behalf of the landowners, FPC Services.
Do you have any comments?
I have no objection.
All right, thank you. So, do we have a motion to continue this to the October 6th zoning board meeting? So moved. Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none.
Who's the negotiating going with between the state's attorney and the landowners?
Currently, I am preparing a draft agreement for the state's attorney's review, and then we will be providing it to Attorney Kennedy for her to present to her clients.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. New business. Petition number 22-P-1596, petitioners Sherry Gossage, permanent parcel number 11-16-09-100-012 in Lee Center Township. Petitioner is requesting to appeal the zoning administrator's final decision and determination of the zoning violation dated July 12th, 2022. Alice?
Earlier this week, Mrs. Gossage had submitted an appeal on Mrs. Duffy's final decision and determination. That was forwarded to the state's attorney for review, and he did not feel it sufficiently explained what she was appealing. So I have reached out to Ms. Gossage. She is willing to continue this matter to September 1, so long as we allow her to amend her appeal so that she can proceed at that time. So I would be asking this board to continue this matter to September 1st for hearing on her appeal.
We have a motion to. I make a motion to move this petition to September 1st. Is there a second? Sorry. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, move on to some other business. Nothing on the agenda, but last month, the county board approved the special use permit for GSG with conditions. As some of you may be aware, the conditions that were approved were not the same as those recommended by this board. Like the zoning board of appeals, the zoning office also advises the county board. Our office not only considers compliance with the ordinance, but also implementation and enforcement of any conditions approved, as well as continuity from project to project. Additionally, with the changes to the ordinances on the horizon, we also must consider what we are going to allow going forward. With that being said, I did advocate to alter a couple of the conditions that were recommended by this board. I presented those changes both to the property committee, which the zoning board reports to, and the executive committee, with a red line version of the conditions that showed what the zoning board had recommended and what changes I was proposing. I also was present at the county board meeting and answered questions from the board prior to its vote. Following the vote, I realized that I could have been more thorough with my presentation. While I presented the changes to 2 committees prior to the county board meeting to inform them of my recommended changes, I realized after the fact that what I should have done differently. I should have attended all committee meetings so that the majority of the board members understood that I was not trying to undermine the actions of this board. And while I thought I was prepared to speak at the county board, I did struggle to bring clarity to the board as to why I would deviate from this board's recommendations. And these are things that I will be working on going forward. Ultimately, I just want to make it clear to this board that it is not my intention to undermine the work that this board does. I value the work that this board does, especially when it comes to the renewable energy projects. And I do not want you to feel like this is a waste of your time. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer.
Why did you recommend a different cell?
So looking back at Mendota Hills, this was allowed and there was no issues, concerns raised with felling the turbines without the blades on. Additionally, going forward, we are looking at allowing them to operate in that fashion. So
Yeah.
anyone that petitions. So being what had taken place previously and what we're looking at going forward, I am trying to tie them together. It is difficult in my position when you have multiple different projects and everyone's following different rules. So unless I see some reason why we would have to be more restrictive, I would not agree with going more restrictive. So if something occurs that based on our ordinance, that what we currently have, something occurs and we find out it doesn't work, then I would be all forward for being more restrictive in a condition. But in this case, I didn't have anything that would suggest that there is a major issue with allowing the turbines to fall without the blades.
Well, you said then that what the county board voted to do was to take the blades off and then fell them.
Yes. So they just remove the blades and any fluid, like hydraulic fluid and stuff of that nature, and that they would be able to knock the turbines down. The other change was to the construction times. I know that this board has advocated in the past to change that. However, given the industry and the nature of construction and that it all occurs outdoors, I have concerns with limiting their ability to work, 7 days a week. They are going to run into issues where they're not going to have supplies that they need and they're not going to be able to run that day, or the weather isn't cooperating and they're not going to be able to run that day. So if they can't work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now we're telling them they can't work Sunday, and we really want them to get the projects developed, I think it's counterproductive. So I did recommend that we allow them to operate 7 days a week from 6 to 9, but I did keep this board's recommendation that there be a half a mile buffer for the non-residents unless a waiver is obtained from the company. So those were the major changes. I did do some just like clarification in one of the paragraphs. It used the term conception to completion, so I further define that. What is conception, what is completion? From my perspective, I need more definition. There were the IDNR consultation recommendation. I just added the exact language from that consultation letter so that it matches the condition. So I didn't really change anything. I just included their language as the condition. Because one thing this condition did leave out is that I believe it's at night that these have to have that cut-in speed, and that this condition didn't say that. So this would have affected them all day long, when really their concern is for the bats who are active at night. So it was just things of that nature. But, this was brought to my attention from one of the board members. So I just want to make it clear to you guys that I'm not trying to step on your toes. I'm not trying to undermine you at all. And going forward, I will be handling it a little bit different so that there isn't confusion and people think that I'm trying to undo what you guys are trying to do. So,
But the comment I've had after the last group this spring was that the lady that was the engineer, I guess, for the felling discussion, based on some of our questions and stuff, I don't think she'd had experience actually in doing the work or being around it, which would have helped us a lot. I ran into somebody a couple of weeks ago down in Princeton, who works with the Tiskawa wind farm. Well, I know the guy that's next to it, that's farms, and he now he works for the company. But anyhow, so I was asking all these questions like we've been discussing to get some more feedback on how they were doing it. And they, like you said, their comments were, they just weren't having, I don't think, any problems with the felling thing as far as that goes and stuff. And they've been doing it for a while. I forget which company that is down there. One of them might be the one that's up here with us too. I don't remember which
Yep.
company.
it has been suggested to me that maybe this board needs to watch as a tower is being fouled. So I will be asking the company if that would be possible to notify us so that if somebody wanted to come out and see how it works, they would be able to do so.
So one of the complaints of the company was that to do the way that you're saying, they still had to bring the big crane in.
They're saying they would not need to bring in the big crane. If we were going to have them remove the nacelle in addition to the blades, they would. But so long as the composite blade material is removed, that's our main concern.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, and that,
And as far as the oil and the nacelle, they have to change that regularly anyway. So they have ways to remove it.
So I did print out the conditions that you guys presented, as well as the ones that were approved by the board. So if you guys want those, I can provide those to you tonight. The next,
And your comment about uniformity. You know, we need that. Somehow needs to be, we forget that stuff.
It's,
No.
it's better for us.
Yeah, but somehow we need to have that as the next one rolls through, that we got that format in front of us as we do this stuff.
and that's what I'm trying to figure out is how I can better assist the board. You know, in making their decisions going forward. So I'm going to be looking at ways that I can provide you information, open that door for communication. So that we can maintain that uniformity.
No, that's fine.
And the next thing, I'll give a brief update on the amendments to the wind and solar ordinances. The proposed private pipeline ordinance did have a public hearing this past Monday, before the planning commission. Only the Farm Bureau presented comments. So it was brief, and the board voted to send that back to the county board with the comments of the public. As far as wind and solar, last month at county board, they voted to send the wind and solar ordinances back to the Renewable Energy Committee for further review. So that committee will be meeting on Monday at 9 a.m. To discuss those, and it is open to the public. And Dee did have one other little update on the candy factory. She said that all buildings that are being taken down are demolished. They are starting the final cleanup, and they will have an appointment. It looks like they have an appointment next week for a new well. And this was pursuant to an email from their attorney, Tom Whitcomb. And then that is all I have.
So when do the moratoriums come off on the solar?
They're set to expire on September 1, and we will be extending them, I believe, only 1 month. If we're not comfortable extending it past that, because we believe that we can hopefully get this finalized soon.
What was the nature of the issues that the county board sent back to the committee? What were their things they were concerned about?
It was the decision of the renewable chair, Chris Norberg. I've received comments from Enel that need to be reviewed. I have received comments from the public. I've done my own review, and I have things that I think that still need to be addressed. So I just really don't think we were ready to send it on at that time. It did happen, and they realized that they're moving too fast and decided to slow it down. So I'm trying to put something together for Monday's meeting to get us through all those suggestions, comments, and questions.
Well, I assume on the September 1st meeting, you will give us another update.
I will absolutely do so.
Else? Okay, can I have a motion to recess until after county board's vote on the above petitions that we move forward?
We'll move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion, we are recessed. And the next regular meeting will be at 7 p.m. Thursday, September 1st, 2022.